So, to begin, we're gonna have our little arm. Oh God. We're gonna have our arm. We'll say right there is the elbow. Here's our hand. That's horrible. So bicep is up here, tricep right there. I'm gonna use our bicep example from class first, because I feel like it's easier than the wrist. So when we flex our bicep, our hand obviously goes through these positions, or our arm, I mean, goes through these positions. So this is going to be our range from here. Oh my God, none of my markers work. This is going to be our range from here to here. So right here we'll call our mid mark. We'll call that D, like she says in our little presentation. So that would make like here to here, inner, then right here to right here would be outer, and this is just for bicep flexion, which would make our bicep muscle really short, not stretched, and then our triceps are going to be really taut and stretched when we're in our most flexed position. So for example, if this were, we'll call it maybe 45. So if at D it's 45 degrees, then the innermost, or the inner range, is going to be from 45 to, we'll call it 135, just to use the numbers that are in our quiz. So yeah, 45 to 135 is going to be our inner range, just for bicep flexion, and then 45 to like 0 is going to be the range for our outer range, and that is again for the bicep flexion. But when you do tricep extension, it's going to change the shape of the muscle. So the biceps are going to be on stretch, triceps are going to be short and fat, which would make this range our inner range, and this one our outer, and the middle one is going to stay the same. Middle would be from like here to here. I'll see if I can mark it a little bit, I guess. That's fine. So that's just for like the biceps. So if we take the example of wrist flexion, it's going to look almost the same. So we got our little forearm guy here, and then our wrist and our hand. When the wrist goes through flexion, it's going to go up. So that means if this were the anterior side of the forearm, and then right here is the posterior side. On the anterior side, our flexors are going to be short and fat when we're like at this position, and the extensors are going to be stretched and taut when we're in this position as well. So we'll call this like our little mid mark, and then that would make this the inner range, this the outer range. Here's our little letter D for middle. And I feel like, I don't know if, okay, so yeah, if this were neutral, when you flex your wrist, my wrist is like almost at 90 right now. I'll see if I can do it like this. So my wrist is almost at 90 right now, maybe even a little bit over. But if I put some passive force on it, I know it looks disgusting, but my wrist can go past 90. So that would make like from here to here, if we call that like 45, up here would be 135. And then again, if we're at 40, and then back to neutral, that's like 45 to 0. So that would make this the outer range for bicep flexion, and this inner range for bicep flexion. I hope that clears it up a bit. I feel like the basic principle for this is the inner range is always going to be where our muscles, the muscle of the movement, so like my flexors are doing the flexing of my wrist right now. So the inner range is going to be where the muscle of the movement is the shortest. So right now my flexors are short and fat, like the circles that I just erased, and my extensors are really stretched and taut right now. And then when you add like even more pressure, it gets obviously even more stretched. So yeah, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Catch you later.